If you want to be more successful, if you want to have a bigger impact in the world, even if you just want to get a job, you need to understand branding. And in this video, I'm going to teach you about branding. I'm going to teach you about one of the most important things that you need to understand about branding. Whether you're the CEO of a company that you want to turn into a household name, or whether you're just someone who's looking for your next opportunity, it's more important than it's ever been to understand branding. Hi, I am Elliott Lemberger. I am the host of a new show called The Designed Self. This is The Designed Self. This is a kind of a preview series of The Designed Self. I'm doing an episode a day, every day for 30 days to promote this show. This is day 7 of showing up here every day, helping you with the most important design project of your life. You know what it is? It's not your company's logo. It's not your company's brand. The most important design project of your life is you, is yourself. Who are you? Did you know that you actually have the power to create who you want to be in this life? And if you don't choose to be the architect of your own identity and your own experience and how you're showing up in your life, well, it's just going to be shaped for you by circumstances beyond your control. So the show is all about how to take control of who you are and how you're showing up in this world. What's your personal brand? It's more important than ever. It's more important than it's ever been to think about your personal brand. And it's one of the reasons I'm here, frankly, talking to you in these videos, is to build my own personal brand. It's a little bit of a crude way of talking about it because I just like showing up. I like being here and connecting with you and sharing stories and wisdom and insights that are going to help you. But one lens that you can put on what I'm doing here is I'm developing a personal brand as a thought leader, as a speaker, as the host of a show, The Designed Self. This is episode 7. I'm doing this every day for 30 days, and I'm so honored to have you here. If this is the first day that you're finding me, welcome. It's only gonna get better. Every day is getting better. That's my goal. That's my promise to you. If there's anything in particular you want to hear about, feel free to message me, say hi in the comments. Today, and in the next 3 episodes, we're going to be talking about branding. This is what I'm going to share with you is based on my own career. I spent 15 years in advertising where I worked on some of the world's biggest brands like Sony, Nike, 20th Century Fox, the Oprah Winfrey Network. And then I got into startups and I built some brands. I spent 7 years and I played a role in building the Ring brand from when Ring had first raised their Series A, was when they hired me. And I helped them go from there. I played a role in taking Ring from that Series A, around 100,000 customers, to becoming a globally recognized brand and a household name. So I'm going to talk about the role I played in that Ring, and I went to Tesla and helped develop the Tesla brand in new ways. So everything I share with you is based on my own career over 25 years as a designer, working at the intersection of brand and innovation. And everything I'm going to share is going to help you, whether you're the CEO of a company wanting to figure out how do I reach a larger audience? How do I inspire my people to be more engaged in my mission? Or if you're an employee in that company and you want to be the one to help your company understand branding at a deeper level, because whatever you do, whether you're in customer service, design, or finance, you can play a role in helping establish your company's brand in a way that maybe your CEO doesn't even see. So whether you're the CEO or the janitor, I want to offer something here that's going to be helpful to you. So in terms of branding, there are 3 pillars to a successful brand. And you can look at any brand and you will see these 3 pillars exist. And I want to encourage you to look at successful brands that you admire, that you look to, and think about your own brand and think about how these 3 pillars apply. So I'm going to tell you 3 pillars, and then I'm going to talk about one of those pillars in today's video. Okay, you with me? Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for pushing play. Thanks for taking a minute to drop into this beautiful nature preserve with me while you're scrolling your LinkedIn feed. I know there's a million things vying for your attention, so I will do my best to be to the point and give you lots of value in this video. It's going to be 15 minutes. Take 15 minutes out of your life, and I promise you will be You'd be really, really glad that you took 15 minutes to watch this video. So there's 3 pillars of a great brand, okay? Number 1 is story. A great brand has a great story. Simon Sinek, do you know Simon Sinek? Love Simon Sinek. We're soul brothers. We've never met, but the man is all about optimism. I'm all about optimism. And Simon Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that speaks to the importance of story. So every great brand has a great story. And so you bring any brand to mind. And the story, whether you think about Apple or, I don't know, KFC, the founder of KFC, then all the stories of him knocking on doors, 1,000 rejections before someone finally agreed to partner with him and bring his chicken recipe to the masses, or Apple, and the story of innovation, the story of starting in a garage, or maybe that was HP, and the story of the trials and tribulations. Steve Jobs' story as the founder of Apple, how he was kicked out of his own company and then he came back and ushered in one of the most innovative eras that had ever been seen in any company. That's all part of the story. And it's one of the reasons we love Apple. And Apple innovated in industrial design and made us care about industrial design. We didn't care about industrial design until Steve Jobs said, you know what? People don't want beige boxes. I think if we give people something they didn't realize that they wanted, they're going to want it and they're going to care about us. And we're going to be he wasn't trying to be one of the most innovative companies in the world. He was just Steve Jobs he understood people and he understood the importance of risk taking. And all of that is part of the story of Apple. It's part of their value system. And so story is about, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you get started? Why are you the person to offer what you're offering? And all too often we get disconnected from story. We forget that it's actually really important, because people care more than ever about doing business with companies that are in integrity and that they're philosophically aligned with. So what's your story? And your story is also not just your origin story, but how you've navigated the road to where you are today and what you're doing next. Where are you taking people? If you follow my videos here, where am I going to take you? I'm going to help you learn how to reinvent yourself. Even in midlife, I'm going to help you learn how to reshape your culture in your company, because that's a reflection on who you are. So that's where I'm taking you. I hope you'll follow along. Story is everything, and story is what unites us. Story is one of the things that makes us uniquely human. And so story is one of the most important components of any brand. I'm going to talk more about this, but first I just want to tell you the other 2 pillars that I'm going to talk about in future videos. The other 2 pillars of a successful brand are number 2 is value. What's the value that you offer the world? It's super important, right? You got to give something valuable, and I hope that I'm offering you something valuable through what I'm sharing in these videos. And the 3rd pillar is personality. Personality is your own unique way of expressing who you are and what you are. And this is where things like your visual identity come into play. But personality goes a lot further than visual identity. It's the tone and the unique way that you come across in all your materials, in your ads, in your videos, in your product experiences. How do your product experiences feel? Your product experience is a core part of your brand, and that's the role that I played at Ring, was shaping the product experience in a way that it embodied the brand. And the Ring brand became about neighborhood safety. And it also became about accessibility and helping there was no connected device industry when we built Ring. There wasn't, people weren't familiar with the concept of devices that connected to the internet. And in some ways, we sort of paved the way for that industry to become as big as it did, because we believed that these experiences should be accessible to everyone, and that your grandma and your grandparents should be able to set up connected devices, because it could help them in their life, help them feel more safe, more secure, and have more ease in their life. So that's what we believed in, and we produced a product experience. So that was the role I played at Ring, was producing a product experience that exemplified that. and that made connected devices accessible to everyone and help people feel more confident. We wanted to help people feel more empowered and more confident with technology. So it was all part of our story. So story for you is, who are you? Who are you in the world? What are you doing? What's important to you? And how are you conveying that? How are you communicating that in your messaging, maybe on your social media? And how are you communicating it internally? If you're a leader, whether you're the leader of a team or whether you're the leader of the whole company, how are you conveying your own story? Don't be shy about your story, because the best leaders in the world are the leaders who are bold about telling their story. One of the other reasons I'm here is because I grew up in a house where we didn't communicate. We didn't talk about feelings. There were a lot of things we needed to talk about because we went through some really, really big challenges, some really hard things when I was a kid that we needed to talk about and didn't. And so I went through a childhood of not being able to talk about the things that I felt were really important to talk about, because it's important to talk. It's one of the best things we have in this world is connection. And it's easy to forget that, especially in a world where technological innovation is overshadowing the human factor in business in so many ways. So think about your story. Think about how you convey your story to your people internally in your company, because by conveying your story, if you're a leader, you're going to inspire people to really know why they're there. They're not in your company just to make a buck and to get a more senior title. They're there to help build and help promote your mission and your story and your reason for being. And if you're in a company, especially if you started a company, there's an inspired story behind that. Don't lose touch with that story, because it's one of the most important things about you. And it's one of the pillars of your brand. And it's the thing that's going to help you have the level of impact that you have been put here in this world to have. I hope that something I've shared in here has been helpful to you. My goal isn't to be prescriptive. My goal isn't to say, a lot of people in business tell you this is what you should do. These are the 5 steps you should take to have an effective brand. That's not how I operate, because my goal is to help you tap your own deeper intuitive wisdom. Intuition is super underrated and undervalued force in business and in leadership. Your path to whatever you seek is through your finding your own, tapping into your own unique genius and finding your own way. So knowing what I'm sharing with you today, the importance of story, the power of story in who you are, the importance of story to connect you with a prospective audience, to connect you with a larger audience, the power of story to inspire the people who work for you to dig deeper and feel more passionate, and feel more engaged, and express your mission in new and innovative and unique ways. That's the power of story. But your story is unique, and the way that your story impacts your business, I have no idea what that looks like. It's completely unique. And this is the work I do with companies, by the way. If you're interested in me helping you shape your story, shape it in a way that you can tell it to your people that will inspire them to get more engaged and express that story in new ways in their work, whether they're in finance, design, or whether they're a janitor. There's an opportunity for everyone in your company to embrace the story of your company. And that's what happened at Ring. We were all invested in this mission of neighborhood safety that our CEO did such a great job of articulating and communicating. And he was one of the most passionate leaders I've ever worked for, because he was in alignment with that mission. And so when you're in alignment with your mission, with what you stand for, and you know who you are and why you're doing it, and you've learned how to communicate that clearly and articulately, then you'll have that impact that you seek. It's that easy, and you don't need to work your butt to the ground to have that impact. You just need to get into alignment, understand who you are, and find unique and creative ways of conveying it. This has been episode 7 of The Design Self. It's all about reinventing yourself in your life, in your business, because reinventing yourself is the foundation. Who you are, your identity is the foundation of how you show up and what you create in the world. Please let me know if this episode was helpful. I'll be here every day doing this. I'll see you tomorrow.